Sorry, folks. Trying to figure out what's going on. Welcome. Heather, if you can figure out why my phone's not loading up my live stream so I can't like monitor it. I don't know what's going on exactly. It's not even coming up on my feed. I can watch the Trump inauguration, but I can't watch my own live stream, apparently. There we go. Come on, I'll do that. Took forever to open, but I can't plug it in because if I knock it down, it'll knock everything out. You think the angle's okay? Is that good?
Yeah, unless you want me to get you an angle that's like here, like that has you in it.
Yeah, can you want to like...
I would just have to back it up to over here a little more.
Yeah, so right now it's on the clamp. This bad boy's there's no way that's live. It's probably a YouTube thing.
Are you on the right internet?
Maybe.
Because I would watch you live inside. That was my only question.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Sorry, folks. It's not.
So that means that you're not on the internet. No, you're not.
I am.
You are.
Yeah. It's just there's... Oh, there it goes. Finally. There we go. Gonna stay positive. Thanks for Miss Heather for all of the help. Appreciate that, director and producer. Gonna be show gratitude today and not be insolent children about things. Learning takes time. Actually, like that angle. Ones that you can move. Hey, what's up, man? Vitaly. Vitaly's here. Shout out to Vitaly, a friend of the show. Got my little 30-degree wedge. Now you could probably do this with a 20, anywhere between a 20 and a 30, depending on the softness of the steel that you're using. This is probably a soft steel. It's a Japanese chisel. I'm just going to go with 30. I'll look up all that stuff and then report back to you all as I do. Hello, everyone. How you guys been? We've been good, Vitaly. We've been good. How about you, man? How's it over in Ireland? I'm gonna put it against both blocks so I get my angle. Probably it's best to like start it and pull back. I prefer to pull when I sharpen rather than push. Then again, there is the problem of you getting wood grit into your paper like this, so probably just establish the angle and then pull. You little rag. Now I'm gonna go ahead and maybe clamp this down, so maybe move a little bit out of the shot because I don't want the board to move on me. I'm sure people will come in here and ask me what I'm doing, and then I can explain. Vitaly, probably, being that you're a regular here, you probably understand what's going on here. I've got a, maybe I should move, I'm gonna move this camera just a slight bit to my left. Got some chisels here. I got this board that I made. I actually did a couple of things. I thought about wanting to hold the chisel against an edge so that it doesn't get moved side to side and the blade doesn't get sharpened unevenly. And I made a wedge here for a regular bevel. So just for a basic bevel, no micro bevel. And so once I've established that, and I'm not used to a 30. 45 is natural, but a 30 is a little bit less than that. And I think it's just take your time with it. This is 800 grit paper here. Everybody's been asking me about this, and in general, this is something I need to practice and do better. So it's okay to have a live stream about this. I built this little board so that we can I can show y'all how I sharpen tools. This is not how I've done it in the past. This is new for me. But this seems to be a better method for more consistency. We've been good, man. Yeah, so like that's the fun part, man. There is nothing more fun than when you're almost done with a project to do the finishing, the varnishing, the oil, the whatever staining you're doing. That's so much fun. When I get to that point, I feel like I'm in heaven. Like when I've made a bed and it's time to sand it down and and do the finishing. It is so it's a joyful time, just like harvesting a plant almost. You know, you grow an apple tree. You got an apple tree, and and it's the apples. It's full of apples. It's a fun thing to go harvest your apples. You know, at least for me. Oh, really? I think once you know, I can't tell you how you feel about it. I don't like to tell people how they feel. But I think once you make your own piece, like your own piece, not a restoration. You've made this. This is your magnum opus. It's your piece de resistance, right? And you're finished with it, and it's just bare wood. I think you'll find that the finishing is quite enjoyable, even the sanding part. But I don't know. That's why woodwork is different for everybody. Some people like to do this or that, and others don't. Check my angle at 30 degrees. You do have to put a little pressure on it. Just check to make sure you're not sharpening unevenly. Unfortunately, on this one, I've already done a little bit of that, so it's going to be trying to right it basically, or make the blade as sharp as possible within the damage that I've already done to the sharp edge, which I have done some damage to, because I got this chisel early in my woodworking journey, and I did not sharpen it correctly to start. I've got some rippling in the paper right there, so I'm going to move it over a little bit to this side. Now, I posted on my Discord some information about sharpening stones, but we don't need to make this all academic. I'm not here to necessarily teach you everything. I'm here to chat. So, setting my angle at 30 degrees with these wedges that I cut out with the bandsaw, by the way. So, what is the rope's purpose in the stool? Can you explain that to me? "30 degrees. And then strop it, right? Get that metal, get those little pieces of metal. It's actually looking better already. As long as you can pull it, the better. So like short strokes are not as good as long strokes, as I understand it. You know, there may be woodworkers going to have different opinions about stuff. That's how any craft is. Just like a lot of them don't use sandpaper. I learned this from somebody who really does know what they're doing, though, man. They don't use sharpening stones at all. Oh, a stool. Bushcraft. I like that stuff. I watch Alone and all that stuff, man. Oh, I see. I see. That makes sense. I had this book called Rustic Furniture that tells you how to build a lot of that kind of stuff. Arbors and benches out of branches that you find in the woods. It's cool stuff to learn. As you know, probably Vitali, woodwork, you know, most furniture is made with trunks. By most furniture, I mean furniture you're going to buy, furniture made by craftsmen, etc. Most furniture is made with the tree trunk and not the branches. I think that has to do with tensile strength. Um, but that doesn't mean you can't make stuff out of branches. My rustic furniture book was all about building things out of some saplings, you know, as many saplings, thin trees as you can find, and then thicker branches. Yeah, that's crazy though. Don't you have no wood in Ireland? Don't you all burn peat over there? Don't y'all burn peat in the fireplaces? Or is that just an old school thing? Oh, definitely. Please do, man. Please do. Post it in the Discord. The reason I'm focused so hard on this 800 grit paper on this chisel is because the blade is so distorted and not straight, that I'm trying to actually kind of straighten the blade before I go to the higher grit stuff. Straighten the edge, not the blade. The edge is just kind of sharpened in a curved direction. It's improving. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. You know, those small, the branches at parks. I guess they let you take them here. Here in the United States, what do they say? You can't even. You're not even supposed to remove branches or leaves or anything from the parks. Uh, they may be the rule there. I'm not saying don't break the rules. I'm certainly a rule breaker. But you know, as long as you're not taking live trees, you know, I don't see what the problem is. And you're not going there with a truck and gathering all the trunks and the wood. Interesting that you bring up that rope and wood backpack. That's kind of like a backpack or a ruck that you've got. It sounds like you're building. Um, makes me think of Viking woodwork. So, quick story. Vikings and also Africans, like Egyptians, they didn't use nails in their ships. So when they built ships, they used joinery, scarf joints and dovetails and laps and stuff like that to build the ribs and the woodwork on a ship. And then they used ropes to tighten the wood together. And then when it got wet, it tightened against the ropes and against itself and created a watertight seal. Just a quick story. So all the Viking ships, all of the ships, the reed boats made in ancient Egypt, and they're very similar actually. Quite sure the Vikings learned how to do it from the Egyptians in some way, shape, or form. Um, those boats are all bound together with rope. Yeah, take nothing but pictures. That's right. Leave nothing but footprints. That's the U.S. like park kind of motto. That's exactly what I was going to bring. It's funny. Miss Heather thinks she's the other half of my brain. So, yeah. I'm not saying it's wrong for you to gather firewood there. There's no reason why that should be a problem. As long as you're not cutting trees down. And far be it from me to like stick my nose into Irish affairs in any sort of way. Welcome to the live stream. Hi. Sharpening tools today. I may or may not have eaten a couple cookies that are making me way more chill on this live stream. May or may not. You know, cookies, they make you happy, a little sugar rush. I should just sing cookie songs the whole time. I get a whole bunch of views for that. Oh, good. My mic's not on my stomach, so you couldn't hear my stomach growl. I think when I get nervous, my stomach growls. It's getting better. This blade is straightening. At least it feels like it. Maybe it's in my imagination. Yeah. It's already getting way sharper. So this was pretty dull before. If I had another one, I'd do a micro bevel side, but I'm just going to pull the back flat side against here once or twice. That just helps if there's any strop on the top. It'll help get that off. Any little pieces of shreds of metal that may have gotten to the top. Yeah, it's getting sharp. And that's just with the one 800 grit, you know? So, Juanita, 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 I'm going to need you to get to class on time. Technically, 2 unexcused tardies is an unexcused absence, and that's a referral. So we're going to need to get that together. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help. Juanita, I made this sharpening board. We love you too, Juanita. I made this sharpening board on the. I'm looking at my camera image. So on the far left of the image is the side I'm working on now. That's the 800 grit. Oh, that's very sweet, and you make our day too. Your presence is a present. So, you've been talking a lot about sharpening. A lot of people have been bringing it up. Haint put something on the Discord about it, so I'll put up a little bit of information. This is a sharpening board that I kind of just crafted today. We've got the far left of your screen is going to be the 800 grit. The middle is 1,000, and the right is that far left? Yeah, far left 800, middle 1,000, and far right is 1,500. It's tricking me because in front of me it's in the opposite direction, so I can't look down and refer to it. So right now I'm working this Japanese chisel on the 800 grit point, and you make our day too. We appreciate you. So I took the sandpaper of these different grades and attached it to the board with glue, but carefully. I sanded down the plywood board so it was smooth first. Then I glued down the paper and pressed it down with these pieces of wood, which also create a straight angle for you to put your chisel against. Anyway, yeah. Welcome. And yeah, let's go. Got these 30-degree angle blocks that I cut with the bandsaw. I cut one with a handsaw, but then that was at 45, and I looked and read a little bit that said that I probably should be sharpening my chisels at a 30. So I built some new wedges at 30 degrees. This is almost ready to be moved up to the 1,000 grit at this point. It's not always that fast, but this one's pretty sharp. I just kind of put it against my arm hair, and it was flicking them off. So I'm flicking them off. See, I may or may not have eaten a chocolate chip cookie before this YouTube live stream. Chocolate chip cookies are very good. They contain many things that might make a person a little different than usual. Sugar is a powerful drug. Sorry if I lost focus here. It's not, I'm not like chiseling away at stuff. This is what happens when I sharpen tools. It's not like I have to like entertain myself a little bit. Can you all hear the sharpening? That's like pretty important. if those cookies are legal in Utah? They they have are chocolate chips illegal in Utah? You know, like them good chocolate chips. We were just talking about that the other day, Vitaly. It is if you know what you're doing. Like, um, most people here would call that chai tea latte, right? So especially if the milk is warmed, because they don't know that like most British people, Irish people, and a lot of people in the world put milk in their tea. In the Middle East, they don't. They just drink their tea straight. In China, I think they don't either. But in the U.S., usually if people put milk in their tea, they're not from here, or they call it a chai latte. Good point, man. That's a good one. That's a good one. Everyone's got to put them chocolate chips in their cookies, though, man. The chocolate chips are good. Yes, only for medicinal and recreational reasons. And of course, I'm talking about chocolate chips, but you know, and it's important to remember that it's important to remember that um, always, you know, everything in moderation, right? And that includes moderation. Now, what was I talking about again? Just kidding, I remember. Welcome, New Beginnings Woodworks. Shout out to New Beginnings Woodworks from Bluefield, West Virginia. Shout out to you, man. We're just sharpening chisels today. Everything moves slow in here. Everybody type something in for New Beginnings if you're a friend of the show here. Give them a good welcome. Right back at you, New Beginnings. Nice to meet you as well. Maybe drop a line about some background or join the Discord for sure, because we're talking woodwork on there. It just started. There's not a whole lot on there yet. But join the Discord. It's just an information exchange. Questions. Today I answered a question about chisel sharpening, which is why we're doing this live like this. It's pretty good right now. It's getting better. Yeah, that's just what I hear, that a lot of people use stones, but the way that I was taught, which was by somebody who knew what they were doing, so I respect this technique, is using different grit sandpaper. I'm sure there is many, and seems like most people sharpen their chisels with stones, but this is the way I was taught, with varying grades of sandpaper. Probably, actually, there's an argument for stones in that they're flat, and paper is going to vary. It's going to be lumps under it, various things. So I'm going to get some stones and try them. I have never used them though. I've always sharpened my chisels, and I get my chisels sharp. Anybody on here knows. But I've always used this technique, so I'm just showing people what I know. You know what I mean? That's cool. Narex is cool. Hopefully, man, they don't pay me for the ad, but if they did, I would definitely promote. I love my Narex chisels for sure. Yeah, I'm glad to know that somebody else does it. The chisel I'm sharpening right now is not a Narex chisel. It is a Japanese chisel of unknown origins. I got it from somebody years and years and years ago, and it's an antique. So a softer steel. So maybe the 30-degree angle would be a little bit different in this case. But I'm going to go ahead and sharpen it at 30. I certainly don't mind if you drop your channel in the channel link in the chat. But hit me back with a Discord. Join the Discord so we can keep this conversation going, and definitely subscribe. I'll pick your brain a little bit on here. Of course, if I had like leather that I wanted to use, I've stropped with buckskin before, but I don't want to use my buckskin to strop right now because I don't have that much left. So I'm just stropping on a cloth. You can use a napkin. It is obviously really sexy to use a leather to strop, but I don't have any. Well, I guess I do have a thing of leather back there, but I wanted to have Heather like sew it on to handles and stuff, do cool stuff with it, rather than like strap my metal grinds onto it. I'm gonna do this 800 for just another minute or so. Then I'm gonna switch to 1,000. I've been on this for like a half an hour now, trying to be real precise with every pull. Put pressure down. That's the way I was taught. Make sure you put pressure down on it. Keep that angle straight. I've also got this guard next to it just in case, but the paper kind of wrinkled there, so I don't want to go over that spot. I want it to be flat. A cheaper alternative would be any rag, piece of leather. Leather is used because it has these pores in it, kind of lets the little strop pieces of metal go into the pore. So that's probably why people use leather to strop. My stomach always goes crazy on these things. Great. Great. Well, welcome, New Beginnings. Friend of the show. I'm gonna move to the 1,000. I might use the rail here if I don't pull it down. I want this. I don't want it to. I think the glue was still soft in there, and that's why I ended up with wrinkles. So I'm gonna put a little bit of. I'm using olive oil as to help the strop. You need some sort of a stropping agent. Water is used. People spit. That's the traditional way that people did it, but you don't need to use spit. Any kind of liquid would do. I prefer the oils. So I use olive oil. Yeah, man. It does look, I mean, your name says it, so you're in the right place. Welcome. It's not like exciting, so to say, around here. We talk, we just chat woodwork and chat other things, man. We go into all kinds of stuff. I was a teacher for 17 years. It's just like my classroom. This was the way I was as a teacher, too. Coolest teacher you ever meet, and I don't mind saying it. Can't do it anymore. Just cannot do it. North Carolina. I was a music teacher and a piano teacher for, if you combine it, like 25 years. Yeah, this is the cool thing about woodworking, Juanita. I've whittled, right? But I have never carved wood. I'm not a carver. I would love to try it. And as I do more and more woodwork, that gives me the chance to do it. The channel, if it grows appropriately, will give me a chance to carve. But I have never carved. And that's the thing about woodwork. I never judge another one who's doing it because there are all kinds of specialties. Woodwork is an umbrella. There are so many different kinds of woodwork that, especially in the past, those kinds of woodwork were the only thing that a given worker did. So if you made barrels, you were a cooper, right? That's the name for somebody who makes barrels. That's all they do. They learn to do woodwork. They know how to rip wood. They know how to use a router and a plane and all that stuff. But they turn wood into barrels, right? That's a cooper. A carver is a person who carves wood. And these turned into names. The reason I know that's obvious, but when we use these names, someone's named Sean Carver, someone's named Ryan Cooper, someone in their family in the past made barrels. Someone in their family in the past was a wood carver. And carving is like the most intricate of the woodworks because you're actually an artist to some respects. You're molding, you're creating moldings. It seems like I'm having a little bit of a kind of a slow night. Probably has to do with inauguration, so I don't want to waste my breath a lot. So now we got Cooper. That's someone who makes barrels. A carver, someone who carves and creates moldings and other things, sometimes an artist. And then we have a sawyer. A sawyer is somebody who takes raw logs and rips those logs into usable pieces of lumber that we call boards. That's a sawyer. And there's more. I could keep going. You know what a turner is? A turner is someone who takes a piece of wood and puts it on an awesome tool that I don't have here in the wood shop, as you can see. It's called a lathe, and the lathe spins the wood repeatedly, and the turner takes a lathe knife and cuts designs into that wood in a 360-degree pattern. That is a turner. So if you ever met anybody with the last name Turner, somebody in their family was a person who was a specialized woodworker who turned wood for a living. That's just a few. I could probably sit here and figure out more. There's woodworkers who made things for animals, specifically yokes for cattle and oxen and things like that. It's woodwork is an umbrella of different crafts. Here, what I do is try to dabble in the ones I like, and I like them all, but you kind of have to pick what direction you're going. And so my favorite part of woodwork is definitely framing, timber framing especially, and then a little bit of the fine furniture craft I like too. Table making, chairs I like, benches, chests and boxes, things like that. So that's if we can niche it down a little bit. Without my niche is there is no niche. Here we're just learning to handle the tools, or we're doing framing. So the thing that I like, right? But there's people who will pop in probably who build cabinets, and they turn wood. They make spindles and bowls and things like that. So appreciate everyone for being here. Looks like it's a little bit lighter night. It's kind of odd because usually when I sharpen tools, that brings in quite a few people. But we'll just keep it moving. I'm glad everybody's here. Welcome New Beginnings Woodworks from West Virginia. And I'll let y'all just kind of run the comments. I'm using a Norwex cloth here. I love these rags, but I'm using that to strap, actually, to be specific. Yeah, the blade is getting good. The way you keep that angle, just in my opinion, my experience, the way you keep that angle is press the wood. When you got your like guide wedge in there, and I've got this sideboard here, press it down firmly. Because everybody's been asking me how I sharpen tools, and nobody shows up when I start sharpening. All right, last negative thing I say. Put your wedge in there. Make sure that your angle is straight. Then hold it at that angle firmly. Because the next thing you're going to do is you're going to put some downward pressure on it. That's like really important. You can't do this like softly or end up with rounded edges. Coolest tool in the carving arena of tools, I think. It cleans the inside of a piece of wood out. This particular tool is a rounded, curved, very sharp blade that's in like a hook shape on a wooden handle. If anybody could tell me what that's called, they win 100 brownie points. Yeah, it's one woodwork craft where you actually pull the tool towards yourself, and that's generally like against woodworking rules. So like in general, woodworking is done, the tool and the business end of the tool is always away from the worker. And with carving, you're holding it a particular way, pulling with your index finger and thumb actually toward yourself, but it's done carefully. So there's like a technique to it. It's not just you just have a piece of wood in your hand. If you've ever whittled, like, and you know how to carve, it's kind of an action between the inside of the index finger and the thumb rather than like, pulling. So there's a limit to how far the blade could go. That doesn't mean you're not going to cut the mess out of yourself. And that's carving small things. When you're carving larger things, the tools are very sharp and very dangerous. Like the tool I mentioned that someone hasn't named yet, it's a tool in the carving discipline of woodwork, and it is curved on the end, and it has a wooden handle, and it is used to take wood to hollow out a piece of wood. So usually that's done with a lathe, but sometimes you have to use some fine handiwork just to get the last of the wood out of something. If you're making a musical instrument, per se, and this piece is one of those that you take wood out of something with. It is like a hook-shaped curved blade, very sharp if it's a good tool, and then a wooden handle. No, it is not called a hollower outer. Ding, 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 ding. That's New Beginnings Woodworks. Scorp is the correct answer. Scorp. Very good. Good job, man. I love the woodworking trivia. I got another one for you here in a second. Need to get a clamp. I got one over here. Oops, I dropped one of my wedges. Good. Good, I got two of those. Yeah, Scorp is a cool tool, man. Definitely, like if you're a luthier, which is another type of, so somebody with the last name Luther, or luthier would be somebody whose family member at some point made violins or guitars. Those people have to be able to use scorps in some instances. Most of the time, the bodies of instruments are made out of multiple pieces of wood. Even if they're called solid body, they're still laminated wood. So a luthier would have to sometimes take solid pieces of wood and clean out the insides, and so you would need a scorp for that. They are cool looking tools if anybody wants to just drop a picture in the Discord. I don't know what it's called, but it's the wrap they use when you get blood drawn from the doctor and they wrap your arm with it. Oh, okay. I see. To train your hand to hold it. I see. Yeah. Yeah, I would probably be clumsy with one of those things and just cut the mess out of my finger. If you ever used an apple peeler, made like a number of pies or made apple cider from scratch or something, there's a tool that you use, hand tool that has a three spikes on the end of it and a handle, and you stick the apple on there, it peels and slices it at the same time. It's a very old school tool, but it works really well. Those have like a scorp like blade on the end of it, and I took off a chunk of my finger with one of those one time, and it made me think I probably shouldn't own a scorp. See, I want it to just, I don't know if y'all can see that over there. No, you probably can't. But I got a piece of wood over here I'm kind of testing this chisel on. I'm not going to take any more arm hairs off. I irritated my arm doing that the other day. So it's okay. I want it a little bit better than that, so I'm gonna keep going with this one a bit. This is one of my favorite chisels, so it's worth getting real sharp. So a woodman or somebody who's works in the woods, takes trees down, feller. That's another woodworking vocation name. So if your last name is Feller, which there are many people with that last name, or Woodman or Wood, usually your job was to gather the lumber, the timbers in the forest. The other day I was working with my kids and I pulled out a tool for debarking trees. And this tool is similar in shape to a pickaxe, like that you would use to dig in the ground, or like a miner's pick. It's in that kind of shape, but it has a very sharp blade, or fairly sharp blade, and it's a light tool. It's not as heavy as a pickaxe. The blade is made out of iron or steel, and it has a curved blade that's recurved back towards you, where the blade is sharp on that back side of that curve. It's used to like debark trees, and it is similar in shape to a pickaxe. See if you can figure that one out. This is olive oil that's kind of solidified because it's cold out here. I just move on to the next project. So I never have that depression, other than the fact that the feeling of finishing a project is always like more satisfying than starting one, because you know you have so much work to do. But you know the fun is in the journey. So uh, you know, maybe a little is the answer to that. And not an appealing stud or appealing stud. Um, Tool starts with an A. Remember, it's kind of a. It's not even very large. Maybe if you looked at a picture, you'd probably think it was like a pickaxe. That would even looks like it. Has the same kind of fluted design on the top, but actually, one side of that, I guess, is just for balance. It's not ever used for as the tool. The business end of the tool is that recurved back blade that would be like the flat, wide side of a pickaxe, but it's curved towards you if you're holding the tool. Welcome, Robert. Well, it's like woodmanship. So like it's part of like taking down trees. It's definitely a basic tool, but a lot of it's an obscure name, so a lot of people might not know what it's called. And maybe people haven't seen one before. You will stand over the tree once you've felled the tree, and you would swing this between your legs, obviously carefully, and this would debark a tree pretty quickly. For bushcraft, it's absolutely a great tool to have. So if you're out in the woods, having a hatchet and having one of these would be um, a great thing to have. But you know, you would probably have to stick to one or two if you're like really doing bushcraft. But if you're out doing, you're trying to build a cabin in the woods and you have some access to a few tools, this would be one of the hand tools you would use. I mean, it's definitely sharper than it was. Wouldn't question that. I'm not happy with it yet. I'm going to go to the 1500 grit. Slow night, man. Slow night. I still love y'all, though. Appreciate everybody being here. If you're saying this like and as in this channel, Vitali, I would say that here on this channel um, we do a little bit of basic like woodworking, so like knowing the basics, but also what we're doing in here is like furniture making and framing. So I'm basically using timber framing to do furniture. Joinery is what this is. So that's basic woodcraft. So basic joinery. That's what we're doing here. Getting better. Real important I get this angle right here. What's going on, Robert G? That's it, man. You got it. It's an ads. That's it. You got it. Just brought that one up to my kids the other day and taught them how to use it. Of course, they wanted to use it, and then I regretted teaching them how to use it. Just like every time they have a hatchet in their hand, I start, like, it raises my blood pressure. It's hard. It's hard. Because I'm worried they're going to take a, they're so negligent, kids. My goodness. So, New Beginnings Woodworks, you're a 2 for 2, man. We won't call that miss, that first miss. We'll call that a mulligan. Also, I mean, y'all, there's not that many of you on here. Go to my Facebook if you're my friend on here, friend of the show. I have not been on social media for about like 5 years until recently, like last year when I started doing videos. So go to my Facebook and send me a friend request if you're still on Facebook or Instagram. This is my name. I got to get Discord on this phone. It's on the phone that I'm streaming from right now. Welcome to Dad's Workshop. Oh, Haint's back. Yeah, Haint. Haint, unexcused tardy. But Haint, I responded to your Discord post. But that's kind of what this is, kind of a response to your Discord post, to be honest. But everybody talks about sharpening, so that's what we're doing. Welcome, Haint, friend of the show. Got a 30-degree wedge here, 30 degrees, and I built this board where you can see, Haint, that I have a 800 grit, a 1000 grit, and a 1500 grit paper. I don't use stone, so I can't teach you how to do it that way. I can only teach you what I know. So I'm not going to teach you something I don't know. I sharpen my tools on paper at the moment. I'm going to get some stones and try them, but this is the way I was taught. So I'm showing you that way. I've got my 800 to your far left and center. I've got 1000, and on the left I've got 1500. Or on the right would be the right. The section I'm in now is the 1500 because I've been sharpening this chisel for like an hour now. So. I mean, it's definitely way better than it was. It's shaving this against from the side grain. I'm able to take the wood off cleanly, which is not something I was able to do before. Maybe work on that bottom a little bit. It's pretty good. So I should just be able to push it. I should just be able to push it through the wood, you know? Like I shouldn't have to hit it. It should make a nice piece of wood like that, like a nice straight curl of wood. Kind of like a plane would be. I mean, it is pretty good right now. I could probably get it better. Maybe go to the 2000 paper that I've got. Got to make a new 2000 block. But I'm not shaving arm hairs off. I've done that too much recently. Gave myself like a nasty rash by taking blades to my arm hairs. Yeah, it's getting there. Sure. Let me do a couple more passes with the, because having this chisel really sharp would be a blessing for sure. Pretty sharp now. I wonder how well that shows up there. I have to wait because there's like a digital delay. Put it back in here, maybe it'll focus. No, it really doesn't focus well, does it? I'm gonna have to get me a new like iPhone camera because they focus better. Not bad there. Now my framing chisel, I really want my framing chisel sharp, so I'm going to take my framing chisel. Kind of hard for you all to see the size of it, but it's approximately an inch wide. It's in millimeters though, because it's an English chisel. And this is like one of my favorites. I use it for a lot of stuff. The other day when I sharpened it, I did not do it any good. So right now, I'm going to work on this one a bit. I mean, you're unexcused. You come in late. First of all, you come in late. You know, every day it's multiple unexcused tardies. I mean, it's really indefensible, to be honest. And then you spam my chat with your puppy pics, and I mean, really, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely, you know, I we'll probably have to talk about it going forward. You know, just let me know if there's anything I can do to help. Got my 30-degree wedge there. And I'm gonna really, this one's tough because you want to hold it firm once you got that wedge in there. Tricky. I would be much chattier, but every time I chat, my viewership goes down. So I mostly try to keep my mouth shut. I don't like the wrinkles on this side. I might have to redo this paper over here. It's got a flat section here that I can use. It is hard to estimate that 30 degrees. That's not like a natural angle. So Vitaly is referring to football in a traditional sense. So that's association football with Vitaly and American football with Juanita. I love American football, but I do have a soccer league, football league in that I do watch, and that's the SPFL, Scottish Professional Football League, or Scottish Premier League. And my favorite team there is Celtic. So big Celtic fan. Also like the Hearts, but they never do well. So big Celtic fan. Vitaly, she means my boys are football, like club football, like what you watch, Liverpool. Like my boys are huge soccer enthusiasts. My boys are like encyclopedias of international soccer clubs and the players. Not as old as me. You're like Heather's sister age. I bet Vitaly's like 24, between 24 and 28. I was close with 28. Yeah, I'm using this Norwex cloth to strop. We had a whole convo on the stropping a minute ago. Good question though, Robert G. Of course, Juanita, I absolutely want to know something funny. She's not a Leo. Telling all our personal business like that. I put my name on there earlier. My astrological sign is in my personal business. This blade is correcting up nicely too as well. So once you give it that correct angle for a few passes on the lower grit paper, you're going to get your blade. If you've, you know, munged it up a bit, it's going to get your blade back to where it should be, so that once you get your kind of edge straight, you can go from there. So you can put the wedge. Here's a technique to use that's pretty like try and true. Put the wedge in, get it all the way to the front, kind of hold your chisel loosely until it seats in there. Then once you got it in the right spot, and then start applying a little forward pressure to it, kick out your block to the other wall, right? And then just pull that and do it just very slowly. Oh snap, Heather's gonna start enjoying this. It's gonna cease to be work. Is Juanita a Cancer? Our new niche is woodcraft astrology. So. Shout out to everybody who subbed. 525 subs. Woo! Let's go. I'll teach you how to sharpen a chisel and tell you your future in the same live stream. Anybody who's watching, click that sub button so we can get to 526 because I'm going to lose that one. So I need 526 to make sure I don't lose that one. I'm going to need another one of those cookies if I'm going to read all this chat like this. If you're going to put me through this, I need, you know, because of the sugar and all that. Don't want any schmutz in there. I'm going to take this piece of 800 paper and I'm going to carefully try to remove kind of the corrosion off the chisel just for looks. People like their chisels to look pretty. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take this 800 paper and go over this chisel to just get this like corrosion off of it so it looks, and it works for that. It'll probably be back, but I carefully avoid the blade though. If I can get it to pull and it'll come off a bit. I have some lye. I have some lye on the other side of the room. I probably could put some lye on there or something. I have to look it up to get all of that off. I don't want to change the flatness of the metal. I want the metal to stay flat. So I don't want to alter it too much, but just to get some of that off so you can kind of see some of that stainless look. So I have fully evolved. You know what I think is funny is that you all don't think I'm reading it now. I know some of y'all out there are master somethings, but I don't know if it's a master number, so to speak. Master something. I'm on a sugar rush from those cookies. Yeah, I like it. I'm not sold it's super sharp yet. I could keep working at it probably. Me, I want dinner. So I'm gonna wrap it up for tonight, guys. It's been kind of a slow night. Appreciate everyone coming. Conversation was loud. Hopefully, I got to 200 or 526 subscribers, so that when I wake up tomorrow and click on it, it's gonna be 525, which is what I want. So homework to those of you who were tardy today, like say Juanita, is to go find someone to just who might like want to sit in here and chat or like learn something about woodwork, because we all learned so much tonight. Um, click that like button, click that subscribe button. We'll be back again tomorrow. I do believe I'm probably going to stream most of the week this week. We're going to try to push it into Thursday and Friday, especially if they drop TikTok, because, we got to grab them TikTok refugees. Remember that. Refugees. The refugee camp here. All right. So we worked on chisel sharpening today. Anybody who's in here wants to check out, it's going to be made public, so you can learn how long it takes to sharpen chisels this way. I don't have any stones at the moment. I'm looking into them. That was not the way I was taught, so I'm showing the way I was taught. And I have an 800, 1000, 1500, and we're just sharpening chisels today. Probably go back to framing again next time, working on the vertical post of the monk bed again that we've been working on. Any questions, comments, extra enrichment, put it on that Discord. Join that Discord now. Dad's Workshop Discord. It is in the description. There is a link in there. If it's not hot, highlight it and take it and come to the Discord and join the Discord, and we'll keep this convo going. It's 24/7. It's a community here. I love every one of y'all. Hope you have a great night. Enjoy yourselves. Watch the college football championship. Do what you do. Love everybody. Have a great night.